Hello, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Let's Talk. Now, in this episode, we're joined by Sherri Davidson. Sherri is the co-founder of the Bradenton Classical Academy, which is a new charter school going through the application process here in Manatee County. She's going to be telling us more about what a charter school is, how classical education plays an important role in charter schools, and how it prepares our students to be future leaders. We hope you enjoy learning about Sherri's mission with the Bradenton Classical Academy as much as we did. And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Hello, and thanks for joining us on another episode of Let's Talk. As I said, we're here today with Sherri Davidson. Sherri is the co-founder of Bradenton Classical Academy. Sherri, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. So before we jump into your school that you're setting up, and we look at the differences between a charter school and we understand what those are, tell us a little bit more about what classical education is and how that's going to play a role.
Okay, so classical education is a concept that returns to the curriculum of teaching children how to teach and to think for themselves. Okay, classical education is rooted in nature. It's a rigorous liberal arts program that teaches children to prepare, more than prepare their way for specialized training, but to look at knowledge of man, knowledge of nature, and our place in the universe. So it can ground that student in their knowledge of themselves and understand where their place is in the universe. And by understanding your place in the universe, you can be more grounded in life and maybe not be as prejudiced or delusional. And it just makes us see the world more honestly and see the beauty and the truth in the world and our place in that world. And it can help a child to really understand where they are in this universe.
Yeah, that does sound a lot different than our public schools today.
Yes.
Between the introduction of critical race theory and other programs, the way I've seen kids bring home their math homework. I don't know what that is, but it certainly doesn't seem like a classical education.
Correct.
Whether that also includes home economics. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's not the stuff that we learn. Not that there isn't room for improvement.
Right.
So there's ways to improve classical teachings, and I'm sure that's what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. So we go back to the basics, teaching math with pen and or paper and pencil, teaching reading with phonics, learning all of the sounds before you try to read, and reading the classics so that as you're learning to read, you're learning virtues because the classics were written in a way to help teach moral values. So we also teach social studies, American history, the way it was written, teaching about our founders, the good, the bad, the ugly. If you don't know the good, you don't know how to emulate the good. If you don't know the bad, you don't know how to stay away from the bad and not make the same mistakes. So you can learn how to prepare yourself in life.
So classical education is the foundation, but help me understand what a charter school is, because I'm not sure I understand exactly what that means and its place in our school system.
So you have your public schools. They are run by the school board, and they get county and state monies and federal monies to run their schools. And they all have to run with the rules according to the school board. A charter school doesn't necessarily have to go by all of those rules. We can follow our own precepts and our own policies and procedures to a certain extent. There are safety things and things like that we have to. But we can basically have our own way of teaching. We don't have to do the same books and the same ways of going through the day, things like that. So we have more freedom to do what we want to do and teach the way we feel teaching should be done. We still get money from the county and from the state, only 80 to 85% of what the public schools get. But we are able to keep our class sizes smaller so that students have more individualized attention. And we can model around that student a bit more so that they are more comfortable in their environment.
I gotcha. So a charter school really operates in the same manner. It's funded a little bit less, which is why you reach out and you have more private fundraisers and those types of things. But it does give you the freedom to choose the curriculum that you seem passionate about and feels like it would be a better fit for our children today.
Mm-hmm.
How do we ensure that the children get a quality education if it's not following the same state guidelines?
So we do have testing that is done. And in this case, our curriculum is going to be provided by Hillsdale College. And they have what's called the Barney Initiative. And the Barney Initiative is a setup of curriculum for schools that teaches under the classical education model. And based in there is the testing so that we can keep up with where children are at and make recommendations as to what they need to do. If they're doing better than normal, if they're doing worse than normal, and we can individualize that care for that child.
So the other thing I was thinking about is when the charter schools are here and we have a special curriculum and it's not following the exact guidelines, how do we know when a student is good fit for a charter school versus a good fit for another option?
You have to look at that child and really learn about that child. And sometimes it takes getting to either the public school or the charter school to see if that fit works. In a smaller setting like a charter school, you can really learn about that child and really learn what's working, what's not working, versus in the classroom right now. And I'll give you the perfect example, okay? I have a granddaughter who's in second grade, and we're Catholic, so every morning that I help take her to school, we pray. And one of the things that she always prays for every day is that her teacher will stop yelling at the students and not have to stop her lesson plan for the day because other students are not paying attention, not in talking and not. So in this case, my granddaughter is not getting the education because this teacher is being forced to deal with students who are unruly in second grade. So that's where the smaller class size and the charter atmosphere where you can make those decisions and help all those students to behave, or maybe charter school's not for them, or at least the classical education may not be for them. Maybe they need something else. But you can pay attention to that and you can intercede so that child can succeed, whether it is in Bradenton Classical or another school.
Yes. So Bradenton Classical Academy, that's the charter school that you have co-founded and you're getting started, right?
Yes.
That's fantastic. Can you tell us more about your school specifically then?
Okay. So Bradenton Classical will start with K through 5. Our anticipated opening is going to be 2024. We are still looking at locations, but it will be most likely in East Bradenton, around State Route 64 and I-75. We will work our way up from K through 5 to K through 12. So we will have smaller class sizes, and then these students will be, or scholars as we like to call them, these scholars will be able to grow from that K through 12 and have a grounded education and be comfortable in a home.
And when they graduate, they'll graduate with the same degree as any other student
Yes.
in a public school.
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. And they'll be ready for college just in the same manner? Or maybe even better, I guess, right?
They will, maybe even better. And with the classical education, we want to do more than just prepare a scholar for specialized training. It's not just about going to college, because let's face it, college isn't for everybody. But the idea is that that child, that scholar will have an understanding of themselves so they can have a better understanding of where their talents are. And Jeb Bush at a conference recently said it the best. He said, even your auto mechanics have to be able to read at better than a 12th grade level, because they have to be able to read those owner manuals to be able to work on those cars. And if you can't read and understand what you're reading, you can't do your job.
That makes a lot of sense.
And Bradenton Classical, we want to, our mission is to teach scholars integrity, accountability for oneself, and citizenship. It seems that we've gotten away from understanding that we are all responsible for the freedoms that we have in this country. And they need to understand that they are our leaders of the future. And we need good leaders in the future.
Yes, we do.
We do.
We desperately do. And training those leaders and setting up a school has to be a challenging task. Where are you going to find the teachers that will get behind this curriculum and be the trainers of our future leaders?
The good part about this is Hillsdale will help us with that.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
How's that?
So they actually have a recruiting program that they will help us with, and they actually have a program where they teach the teachers and the principals. They have teachers and principals in the wings waiting. And so that's a good part. Now, teachers in general are in shortage, just like nurses. So it is going to be a challenge to get everybody in place, but I know we will do that. We also are contracting with a charter management organization called San Jose Schools, and they will help us also with recruiting and getting that principal or headmaster in place so that everybody has the same understanding of classical education and they accept it and are proponents of it.
Good. Yeah, because everybody's got to be on the same page for something like this.
Got to be on the same team.
Yes, I like it. And do you find like that the parents are going to be interested and do they play more of a role in a charter school or is it, how does that work?
They will. And it's not going to be an overwhelming need for those parents, but they need to pay attention to what that student is learning. And we want them to be a part of it. And we want them to help the child with their homework and things like that. And there will be ways of getting help for that child if the parent can't do it. And of course, we'll have the PTA and fundraisers and things like that to help support the school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we've learned a lot of those things, and we talked about the parental interaction. Is that how you got your start? And is that why you got interested in setting up a school? It
is. And again, it goes back to my granddaughter. I help take care of her because my daughter is a nurse and she's a single parent. So I help take care of her. And she's a smart girl. I know she is. But she is floundering. And I'm looking at her, and at the same time, I have a niece who goes to Tallahassee Classical up in Tallahassee. And they're the same age. And the differences in my niece's knowledge base and my granddaughter's knowledge base is night and day. My niece is learning the preamble. She can recite it word for word.
Wow.
She is working with integers. My granddaughter is still doing math using her fingers. And there's a disconnect here, and something has to change. And I started looking at it, and I started looking at the schools in our areas. And she's in a Title I school, okay, which means it's lower income, and so, and we have to deal with, and I shouldn't say all schools have to deal with the speaking other languages and things like that. And I understand that. But I just feel that the classical education is so much more rigorous, but yet doable for every student, that we need to bring these children up. And right now in East Manatee, the amount of growth and development in that area, the school board can't keep up. And we have several schools in that area that are 300 and 400 students over their capacity. So how are these students getting a good education? I'm sure they're doing the best they can. I'm not blaming Manatee County School Board. They're doing the best they can. But growth it's crazy right now.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep up with that.
Yeah.
So we are hoping to be an answer to that problem.
Well, they do have their hands full. There is a lot of growth. And hopefully with our attractive area that you'll be able to find the right teachers to come here and help you out with this education process as well. When it comes to the school and some of the differences, can you tell us about maybe what some of the core values might be of the Bradenton Classical Academy?
Okay, so core values are integrity, honesty, accountability for oneself. We want students to understand that life does not happen just because you want it. You have to work for it. And if you do something wrong, you have to own up to it, and you have to take that accountability for it. But at the same time, it's not that you're a bad person. Everybody makes mistakes. We move on, we forgive each other, and we stay rational and kind to each other. And at the same time, we work hard to learn about our American history. America is an amazing place. It really is. The way our founders set up our country, it blows my mind every day that I think about it. And so we want students to understand that concept, and to understand that in order to keep our freedoms and to keep America, we need leaders of the future, and leaders need to be upstanding, good citizens. They can't be these type of people who don't care about another person, steal from others, and things like that. So we need to go back, and and this is not going to be a religious school at all, but it goes back to those commandments. You don't steal from others, you don't murder, you don't lie, things like that. We want to go back to a wholesome community.
Well, that is perfect. I think we definitely need that. I think it is missing. I think we see a lot of that on the stress that society in general today. And so to be able to have a school that will help instill those principles with the parental interaction, but go back to that classical, I guess that's literally how it got its name, huh? Go back to the classical education, I think will be a welcome change. I think that the community will embrace it as a whole. And is there competition between a classical academy or a charter school and the public school system? I mean, will they welcome you as part of the solution, or is there some hurdles that you'll have here?
We will have hurdles. There are 3 different ways now that we can get authorized through the state. Through the county school board, we can affiliate with a state college, which we're working with both University of South Florida and State College of Florida, looking into that possibility. And then this year, the governor just signed into law a new way, which is being authorized through the state. So we are looking at all of our options because, you can't blame them. if we're coming into Manatee County, we're going to be taking students and funds away from the county. And they're going to want to make sure that these students are being properly educated. So they're not going to be easy on us. And that's fair. And we're up for that challenge because we will be able to educate these students and give them a great education.
So I know that you're in the beginning process now.
Yes.
Tell us where you are in that application process.
Okay, so we are in the writing of the application right now with the Charter Management Organization, and we are needing some funds. Our immediate need is $25,000. After we get the charter application written and approved, everything will pretty much run smoothly. And according to our business plan, we will not really need much more funds than that because of the state and the federal and the county funds that are available to charter schools. Charter schools are becoming more welcome in the state of Florida. So it makes it easier for us to get those funds in order to get started. So once we get that initial $25,000, we're ready to roll.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I know you have a co-founder.
Yes.
But if people wanted to get involved to help you reach your $25,000 so that you can get going, please tell them how they can reach you and how they can contribute if they feel inclined to do so.
Okay. So you can reach out to BradentonClassical.com, or you can email me at Sherri, Sherri, .Davidson, Davidson, .classical.edu@gmail.com, or you can simply call me at 941-405-3424.
Fantastic. Well, then hopefully this will help speed up the process. I think you indicated before that this will likely go 2024. Is that accurate?
Yeah, because we still have to set the facility. If we get our authorization completed in 2022, it is conceivable we could start in 2023, but we will need to find a facility to rent until we get our facility built. So, because it takes time to build things.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So,
well, I appreciate your time today, and I want to wish you the best of luck. I really feel like understanding the charter school, understanding why you want to do this, and understanding the benefits to the children, our future leaders, I think has really helped me today for sure.
good.
And I hope that you can get this up and going even sooner. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you very
appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all very much. And that's a wrap.